There is a version of you that already knows what to do. Not in the future, not after more healing or learning, but right now. This version of you doesn't live outside of you. It is you, the deeper, clearer, and more coherent version that's always been present beneath the noise. We call it the higher self, but it's not a mystical force floating somewhere in the clouds. It's a frequency, one that's already broadcasting, waiting for you to tune in. The truth is, the guidance you've been searching for isn't far away. It's already showing up in subtle ways. A gut feeling you almost followed, a quiet whisper you dismissed, a moment of peace that came out of nowhere. But often we miss the message, not because it's not there, but because we're tuned to the wrong station. Your mind, body, and emotions act like a signal receiver when they're filled with static, stress, doubt, overthinking the message from your higher self gets distorted. You start questioning your intuition, ignoring signs, or searching outside yourself for answers. But the real shift happens when you realize the issue isn't the guidance. It's your ability to hear it. To hear your higher self clearly, you have to become still enough to receive. This isn't about forcing clarity or chasing signs. It's about creating enough internal coherence for that guidance to rise naturally. Just like tuning a radio, the clearer your frequency, the stronger the signal becomes. And here's the key. Your higher self speaks in resonance, not in logic. It communicates through emotion, sensation, and alignment, not long explanations. When you feel a deep peace around a choice, a grounded sense of yes in your body, or a calm knowing even when circumstances are uncertain, that's it. That's guidance. You don't have to become someone new to access it. You simply need to remove the interference and return to what's already inside you. This guidance is constant. The question is, are you still enough to hear it? In the next part, we'll explore what's blocking your internal signal and how to realign with the frequency of your higher self so that the guidance becomes unmistakable. If your higher self is always guiding you, why does it sometimes feel so hard to hear? The answer is simple but powerful. Interference. You're not broken. You're not disconnected. You're simply tuned to a frequency filled with static. The overthinking, the emotional reactivity, the fear loops that run in the background of your mind. Your higher self isn't loud. It doesn't shout or compete with your inner critic. It whispers through intuition, subtle feelings, a deep inner yes that often gets drowned out by urgency, doubt, or pressure to get things right. The real problem isn't that the guidance isn't there, it's that your inner environment is too noisy to receive it clearly. Imagine trying to hear a soft melody playing in another room while a television blares. Your phone buzzes and your mind replays yesterday's worries. That's what it's like to live disconnected from your higher self. It's not that the signal disappeared. You're just tuned into chaos. The first step to hearing your higher self is learning how to quiet the noise. That means calming your nervous system, softening your thoughts, and releasing the need to control every outcome. Your guidance lives in the space between thoughts, not inside of them. Start paying attention to moments of stillness when you're in nature, in the shower, or lying awake just before sleep. Notice how those are the times your clearest insights often arrive. That's not a coincidence. That's coherence. The more you create inner calm, the more your higher self becomes recognizable. It speaks through calm clarity, not mental chatter, through resonance, not reaction. When your body relaxes, your mind softens, and your heart opens. You're able to hear what's been speaking to you all along. So, If you've been feeling stuck, like you're not getting the signs or can't trust your intuition, understand this: you're not disconnected, you're just distracted. You don't need to search harder. You need to listen differently in the next part. We'll explore how to shift from distortion to alignment and what it actually takes to tune your inner system to the frequency of your higher self. Now that you understand the noise that blocks your higher self, the next question is, how do you actually tune in? The answer lies in one word: alignment. Your higher self isn't just a spiritual concept. It's a frequency, a precise, coherent state that your body, mind, and emotions can attune to. Think of it like a radio station. The guidance is always playing, but if you're even slightly off the dial, all you'll hear is static. The moment you align, the message becomes crystal clear. Alignment isn't about perfection. It's not about being positive all the time or never having fear. It's about becoming internally coherent, where your thoughts, emotions, and nervous system are moving in harmony. In that state, your inner signal sharpens, and the whispers of your higher self become steady and trustworthy. But here's what most people get wrong. They try to think their way into alignment. They ask, what should I do, when the better question is, what state do I need to be in to hear the answer? The guidance you seek doesn't come from mental effort. It comes from energetic clarity. So how do you create that clarity? Start with the body. When your body feels safe, your mind becomes more still, and your heart opens. Use breath, slow, conscious, rhythmic. Use presence, bring your awareness fully into the moment. Use emotion, cultivate elevated feelings, like gratitude, calm, trust. These aren't just good habits. They are literal tuners for your inner frequency. When you're in alignment, your guidance feels different. It's not rushed. It doesn't feel like pressure. It arrives like a knowing, quiet but unshakable. It's the idea that pops into your head when you're not trying. It's the sense of peace you feel around a decision, even if it doesn't make logical sense yet. The more you practice tuning in, the easier it becomes. You start to recognize the difference between fear dressed up as intuition and real soul level knowing. And the most powerful part, the guidance from your higher self always leads you toward expansion, even when it feels unfamiliar. In the next part, we'll dive into how to build daily practices that create the space for your higher self to lead and keep you tuned in when life gets loud. If your higher self is always broadcasting, the key is learning how to listen consistently. And the most reliable way to do that, create space each day to tune in. This isn't about long, complicated spiritual routines. You don't need to sit on a mountaintop or meditate for hours. What you need is intentional, repeated alignment, small moments in your day where you quiet the noise and allow the deeper guidance to rise. Why does this matter? Because without conscious rituals, the world hijacks your frequency. You wake up, check your phone, get pulled into notifications, social media, other people's energy, and suddenly you're tuned to everything except yourself. By mid-morning, you're not in resonance with your truth, you're just reacting. But when you start your day with intention, something shifts. You claim your own energy before the world speaks. Try this simple morning ritual. 1. Before you touch your phone, place a hand on your heart and take 3 slow, deep breaths. Inhale through the nose for 4 seconds. Exhale through the mouth for 6.2. Ask, what frequency do I want to live from today? Peace, clarity, trust, presence. 3. Feel that state in your body. Don't just think it, Generate the emotion of it. Let it saturate your nervous system. 4. Whisper to yourself, I am tuning in to the wisdom within me. My higher self is already guiding me. Say it like you mean it. This small practice does more than you think. It programs your signal for the day, so that when challenges come, your reaction isn't chaos. It's clarity, and you don't have to limit this to mornings. Sprinkle micro rituals throughout your day. A deep breath before a meeting. A 2-minute pause when you are overwhelmed. A silent check-in while walking. These moments recalibrate your frequency, and every recalibration sharpens your connection to guidance. The more often you return to alignment, the easier it is to live from it. That's how you go from chasing clarity to channeling it. In the next part, we'll explore how to distinguish true guidance from fear, ego, or mental noise, so you can trust what you're hearing and act on it with confidence. One of the biggest questions people face when tuning into their higher self is this: how do I know if it's real guidance or just my fear pretending to protect me? It's a valid question and a crucial one, because the voice of your higher self and the voice of fear can both sound convincing, but they come from completely different energetic signatures. Here's the truth: your higher self guides you through peace, clarity, and expansion, even when the next step feels unfamiliar. Fear, on the other hand, speaks in urgency, tension, and limitation. It pushes you to react quickly. Your higher self invites you to respond calmly. Let's break it down. Fear says, you better act now or you'll miss your chance. What if this doesn't work out? Stay small, stay safe. It feels tight in the body, a clenching in your chest or gut. It's often loud, repetitive, and rooted in past wounds or future worries. Your higher self says, this might be new, but you're ready. It doesn't have to make sense yet. It just has to feel aligned. You're supported. Trust the pull. This guidance feels calm and spacious. Even if it challenges you, it doesn't create panic. It brings a quiet confidence. It may come as a gentle nudge, a deep knowing, or a sense of peace that defies logic. Here's a powerful tip. Real guidance feels like a soft yes in your body, even when your mind is unsure. It might feel like a deep breath, a sudden lightness, or an inner smile. Your body always knows. It's a clearer channel than your thoughts. When in doubt, pause. Give the emotion time to settle. Don't rush a decision. True guidance doesn't demand panic. It waits patiently for you to meet it with stillness. You're not trying to eliminate fear. It will show up. But you can become someone who no longer follows it. In the next part, we'll dive into how to strengthen your trust in your higher self, so that even when the path ahead isn't clear, you'll know how to move forward with inner certainty. Even after you begin hearing the quiet voice of your higher self, another challenge arises. Trust. You might hear the guidance, feel the nudge, sense the next step, but then your mind kicks in. What if I'm wrong? What if this is just wishful thinking? What if I make a mistake? This is where most people turn back. Not because they aren't receiving guidance, but because they don't trust it enough to act on it. Here's what you need to know. Trusting your higher self is a muscle, and like any muscle, it strengthens with use. You're not waiting for 100% certainty. That moment never comes. You're learning to take aligned steps based on what you do know, the feeling, the resonance, the calm yes within you, even when your logic can't explain it. Start small. Begin by noticing when your intuition is right in everyday things. Who to text, when to leave, what route to take. These little validations matter. Every time you follow through, you're wiring your nervous system to trust the frequency of alignment. Another way to build trust is through reflection. Look back on moments where you did feel guided. Ask yourself, how did the guidance feel at the time? What happened when you followed it? What happened when you didn't? You'll start to recognize patterns. You'll begin to see that your higher self was never wrong, even when it led you into the unknown. It was always toward growth, healing, or alignment. Also remember, guidance doesn't always come with guarantees. It often leads you one step at a time. That's not a flaw, it's part of the design. Your higher self doesn't give you the entire map. It gives you the next frequency match, the doorway that moves you forward in truth. Doubt will still show up. That's okay. You don't need to eliminate it. You just don't need to give it the wheel. Every time you act on subtle knowing instead of loud fear, you reinforce the truth. You are already connected. The more you trust it, the louder and clearer it becomes. In the next part, we'll explore how to live from this guidance daily, and what life looks like when your higher self becomes your primary compass. So you've learned how to hear the voice of your higher self, how to trust it, and how to stay in alignment. But what does life actually look like when you begin living from that space consistently? Here's the honest answer: it doesn't mean your life becomes perfect or that challenges disappear. But it does mean you stop navigating life from fear, force, or confusion, and start moving with a deeper sense of inner authority, flow, and peace. When your higher self becomes your guide, your decisions feel clean. There's less overthinking, less second-guessing. You don't need everyone's opinion because you've developed an internal compass that's more reliable than any external advice. You stop chasing outcomes. Instead, you follow resonance. You begin to feel when something is off, even if it looks good on paper. And you know when something is right, even if it doesn't make logical sense yet. You become magnetic, not because you're trying to manifest constantly, but because you're in energetic coherence. You're living in alignment with your truth, and that alignment sends a clear signal into the field. Opportunities, relationships, and resources begin to respond to your frequency, not just your effort. You'll also notice synchronicities, perfect timing, intuitive nudges that lead somewhere meaningful. You'll say things like, "I don't know how I knew, I just knew." And you'll realize it's not a coincidence. It's your higher self guiding you in real time. Even in difficult moments, you'll move differently. You won't collapse into fear as quickly. You'll sit with uncertainty without needing to control it. You'll hold space for discomfort without abandoning yourself. Why? Because you know you're not alone. Your deeper intelligence is always with you. Living from your higher self is less about spiritual performance and more about spiritual embodiment. It's not about acting enlightened. It's about showing up honestly, calmly, and consciously, moment by moment, and allowing your inner truth to lead. This is where freedom lives. Not outside of you, but within you. In the next part, we'll explore how to stay in connection with your higher self, even when life gets messy, so you don't lose your center when things feel chaotic or uncertain. Life isn't always calm, quiet, or easy, and that's exactly when staying connected to your higher self matters the most. It's easy to feel spiritually aligned when things are going smoothly, but what about during the overwhelm, the uncertainty, the heartbreak or stress? That's when most people feel disconnected, lost in the noise of fear, doubt, or survival mode. But here's the truth. Your higher self never stops guiding you, even in chaos. It's just that the signal gets harder to hear when your inner world is flooded with emotional static. The guidance is still there, waiting beneath the surface, like a clear voice behind a storm. So how do you stay connected when life gets messy? First, pause instead of react. When you're triggered, overwhelmed, or spiraling, stop. Take 3 deep breaths. This simple act of grounding interrupts the pattern and brings your awareness back to the present moment, where the voice of your higher self lives. Second, ask instead of assume. Instead of letting your mind run wild with stories like "this is bad" or "I'm failing," gently ask, what's the deeper truth here? What is this moment trying to teach me? How would my higher self see this? That inquiry opens the door. It shifts your frequency from panic to presence. Third, trust the silence. Sometimes the guidance won't come as a lightning bolt of clarity, but as an invitation to wait, to rest, or to let go. Your ego wants quick answers, but your higher self often speaks through stillness, timing, and subtle energy shifts. Here's the powerful part. Every time you choose presence over reaction, every time you pause, breathe, and listen, you reinforce the connection. You become someone who stays rooted, even in the storm. That doesn't mean you won't feel fear or sadness. It means you won't be ruled by them. You'll respond, not react, and you'll begin to navigate life with a grounded sense of inner clarity, no matter what's unfolding externally. The more you choose alignment during the hard moments, the easier it becomes to hear your higher self at all times. In the final part, we'll explore how to integrate this connection into your identity, so you're not just guided occasionally, you're living as the embodiment of your higher self. At some point in your spiritual journey, it's no longer just about hearing your higher self, it's about becoming it. You're not meant to treat your higher self like a distant, elevated version of you that you only connect with during meditation or in moments of stillness. Your higher self is not a visitor, it's you, fully integrated when you're living from your most truthful, aligned state. So, what does it actually mean to embody your higher self? It means living as if your inner wisdom is your baseline. You're not just checking in occasionally, you're moving, speaking, creating, and choosing from that space of expanded awareness. You trust your inner yes and no. You set boundaries from love, not fear. You choose alignment over approval. You honor your energy and intuition more than outside expectations. And most importantly, you no longer abandon yourself to fit into environments or narratives that don't match your soul. Embodying your higher self doesn't mean you become perfect, emotionless, or always peaceful. It means you become deeply honest, radically responsible, and vibrationally consistent. You no longer wait for permission to be who you already are. When you live as your higher self, your life begins to reflect it, not immediately, but inevitably. You start attracting relationships that honor your truth. Opportunities align with your energy. Challenges don't disappear, but you move through them with grace and grounded power. This embodiment also makes your guidance clearer. The more aligned your actions are, the louder the intuitive signals become. You become a clear vessel, not just for personal guidance, but for creative ideas, healing, energy, and even collective service. Here's the beautiful truth. You're not becoming someone else, you're returning to who you've always been underneath the noise. Programming and fear. Living as your higher self is a daily choice. Not always easy, not always comfortable, but always true. So start small. Ask yourself in each moment, What would the most aligned version of me do right now? Then follow that, step by step, day by day, until alignment becomes your natural state. Because you don't just hear your higher self, you are it. You've now explored how to connect with your higher self, how to recognize its voice, trust its guidance, and embody its energy. But here's the final piece. Integration. True transformation doesn't come from just having spiritual experiences. It comes when you integrate those experiences into how you live, relate, create, and lead. It means your higher self isn't just something you tap into. It's the foundation you build from. So how do you fully integrate this guidance into your everyday reality? Start by creating rituals of reconnection. Whether it's morning journaling, silent walks, breath work, or just placing your hand on your heart and asking, what's true for me right now? Make space for daily dialogue with your inner being. The more often you check in, the clearer the signal becomes. Next, align your choices. Every decision, big or small, becomes a chance to choose integrity over convenience, intuition over pressure, truth over approval. Ask yourself, is this choice in harmony with my highest timeline? If not, why am I still choosing it? Integration also means taking aligned action, even when it feels uncomfortable. Your higher self may lead you toward things your ego finds risky, a new path, a tough conversation, a bold leap. But every time you follow through, you rewire your identity. You stop living as your limitations and start living as your potential. Remember, the goal isn't to ascend out of the human experience. It's to bring your higher consciousness into it, into your work, your relationships, your expression, your service. When your higher self is fully integrated, your life becomes a reflection of soul-level alignment. Challenges will still arise, but you'll meet them differently. Instead of spiraling, you'll anchor. Instead of reacting, you'll respond. Instead of abandoning your truth, you'll return to it faster. This is how you know the work is working. Your outer world begins to shift in response to your inner coherence. You are no longer seeking connection. You are connection. You are no longer waiting for clarity. You embody it. And from this space, life doesn't just happen to you. It flows through you, guided, clear, true, exactly as your higher self always intended.